Did you know that during the Vietnam War, the United States stationed troops not only in Vietnam, but also Korea? In fact, my grandpa was one of those soldiers. He worked in the communications section of the Army. After enlisting into the Army and completing basic training in Georgia, my grandpa expected to be shipped off to Vietnam. He requested to go to Vietnam 3 times, and all 3 times he was denied. Later he found out that it was his uncle, who was a general at that time, denying his requests. So instead of Vietnam, my grandpa was stationed in Korea.
Going to Korea, everybody thought they were going to wind up going to Vietnam, but they said I was going to Korea, so I really didn't understand or have any inkling of what was going on over in Korea. It was like I was all prepared to go to Vietnam, right, and then they're sending me to some other place, so that was a little confusing.
From what my grandpa understood, he had 2 main reasons why he decided to go to war.
2 reasons. One, I grew up in the military. I already had a mind that I should serve my country. And 2, from what I could understand as a young man about the Vietnam War, was it was aggression against people who did not want to be communist. And therefore, they were putting a fight up against that, who was the communists were trying to take over their country. Right. So that's the main reason I enlisted into the military.
Now you might be wondering, what was day-to-day life like for a U.S. Army communicator?
Daily life was getting up, eating breakfast, going out doing calisthenics, going and running 5 miles and coming back. Then go up and take care of your vehicle, your radio equipment, your generator. But most of the time they turned around and had us out in the field, which means we went out into the boondocks, to the mountaintops in Korea to practice putting in communications, all right? And then we also had permanent radio sites where we put in communications for military purposes from the DMZ all the way down to Seoul.
Seems like a pretty simple task, right? Wrong. With North Korea being for communism, they become enemies to both South Korea and the US, and allies with Vietnam. North Korea's main goal was to assassinate the president of South Korea.
What happened was the North Koreans, they were always trying to infiltrate across South Korea to wreak havoc and assassinate the president. And at one time they had gotten across the DMZ and infiltrated, and we were in charge of the communications, like I said. Yeah. And they cut the lifeline cable going from DMZ down to Seoul, and they cut a large section of it out. And I had some of my men had to go and reinstall cable. You know, so the link would be up, and I had to go out in the field and put in emergency radio communications. But anyhow, what happened was my men were on their way out there. They got stopped by some Koreans, and they stopped the vehicle and shot the driver, and they shot the guy riding shotgun. Then they had the rest of my men get out of the back of the truck, and they tied their hands behind their back. From what it looked like is they just executed them there on the side of the road. They shot them off, and they took the truck. They took off, so they didn't catch those folks. But
my grandfather has served in the military for over 20 years, starting in 1968. But how was he treated when he came back from the Vietnam War?
First time come back home, it wasn't real good. When you came back home, you had people spitting at you, calling you names, throwing garbage at you. We were told not to wear our uniforms in public. You could get yourself beat up. So, my wife was Korean, and there wasn't too many people that seen a Korean before. Right. And of course, they thought that she was Vietnamese because she had Asian eyes. Mm-hmm. So they kind of looked at her strangely. Wow. And they'd be staring at her and stuff. So it made me really kind of self-conscious. I felt better when I was around the military people and on post than out in civilian life.
His experience gives us a deeper understanding of how people treated the soldiers after the war. They treated these soldiers unfairly, harassing the soldiers who thought they were fighting for the greater good, but ended up serving in a rather pointless war.
States Army, the guys go over there, they do their best to give the people freedom, all right? Mm-hmm. But then our own government turns around for political reasons, just pulls us out. And so what that means is you have 500,000 people that went and gave their lives for nothing. It was a total waste of time. Yeah.